we had a snafu with the school committee. Well, in hindsight, what we should have done is just gone ahead and had the presentation at our meeting and just let the school committee vet their own numbers out. But, so, you know, that's a learning experience, but it was done. It was just not publicly presented.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. And it's something that never has an end, because you're always going to be rolling.
You always have to revise it.
One more year and fine-tune the
Exactly.
early years.
Speaking of that, the Selectmen's page on the website has a little click on for the town administrator's financial forecast, but it's David Colton's from 2006. So I think we need to update, we need to get that off the website and update and put our new one up there once we have it.
Number 3 was work with Department of Public Works Director to devise a plan to fund infrastructure maintenance shortfalls.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this one was kind of tough for the Director of Public Works and I to try to develop a plan for, because as you know, we're always getting less dollars and charged with doing more with less dollars. But what we decided was that we will submit with his capital plan every year a dollar amount to fund the shortfall for infrastructure maintenance. In addition to that, we will continue to lobby for more Chapter 90 money. We'll continue to look for grants, Mass Work grants, and the MWRA, low-interest loans or no-interest loans.
Well, the MWRA, that I don't think will do much for our, well, it'll do water and sewer infrastructure. No, it does the INI, yeah. Yeah, it'll do water, I mean, the infrastructure, I think we're doing okay in our water and sewer infrastructure keeping up. Where we're not keeping up is our road and bridge infrastructure.
And that's where we will put the money in on the 5-year capital.
What I was kind of looking at there was, again, I mean, I tried thinking out of the box as many different ways as I could, but that's really what I want to see. I mean, you can submit it to the capital committee until the cows come home. There just isn't enough money. So we need something outside the box thinking, some forward thinking, not the same old thinking, and that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, but Tom, I think your Article 37 at town meeting was a good example of that.
Yes.
And that's, you know, that's not roads, but that was big capital projects that would potentially be funded through that. So you know, you drove it, but there was some out-of-the-box thinking on that. The roads, you know, really, I was talking to the town administrator on these goals earlier, and this one is almost an impossible goal, I think, to meet, because what you really need for roads is an override to do capital projects.
It may be. Maybe that's the answer, but you know, if that's the answer, then let's start thinking towards that. But we can't let our roads. We're
looking at an operating override.
We cannot let our roads deteriorate to the point that they are right now. They're atrocious.
No, we agree with you on that, Tom. But you know, when you're looking at an operating override next year, we just had the firefighter medical override. There's a limit on the number of overrides that can be done.
Understand. And there's a limit on how much debt we can issue. Under the levy limit.
So I think this one going forward, you're really talking about an override for roads, or you are talking about grants. I mean, what other outside-the-box thinking, and aside from what you came up with for some big capital items like buildings, can really be done for this?
You got to look at grants, but grants take time to write as well.
Exactly.
So it takes away from running a department.
And there probably aren't a lot of grants out there, to be perfectly honest, you know, but it's certainly worth pursuing. It's you know, I think and again, alternative methods of financing. I mean, I had one idea, it got shot down because, and that was to kind of leverage the Chapter 90 money that we're getting. So we get, you know, in good years we were getting 900 grand in Chapter 90, you know, and so to basically do a bond issue and use the Chapter 90 money to help us maintain the debt service, but at least then you get caught up. It's that kind of thinking, you know, that there's got to be ways to think out there that are just a little unconventional that might work. But if you don't throw the ideas out, then we're never going to, you know. So that's
I agree, but you just have to remember that in the private world and the municipal world, it's a little different.
Understand. You're going to throw 100 ideas, that 99 are going to be shot down because you can't do it.
Yeah, I thought your Chapter 90 was an excellent thinking outside the box try, but as you know, we weren't able to be successful with that because we can't rebond bonded money.
But this one is one that the town administrator has on her list of potential 2016 goals and objectives, and I think we ought to really consider whether that should be on there or not, because I really think it's there are probably things that are more important than that. As important as roads is, we know that the way to do it is by borrowing if you want to do more than what Chapter 90 allows every year. But I think going forward, we should talk about whether it should be on the list going forward or not. And we probably want the 2016 goals and objectives to wait until we've decided what the board's goals and objectives are at a July meeting.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it is still extremely important. It's what the public sees when they enter this town.
Oh yeah, there's no question roads are important,
No,
but
I
I'm not
agree.
sure that town administrators' goals and objectives should be to devise a plan to fund the shortfall. We can talk about it going forward. I think it's going to be a hard one to meet.
Number 5 is report monthly on status of open projects.
I think we run number 4.
Okay. Establish a system to ensure that executed documents and agreements that require action or other kinds of maintenance be kept current. And I know this is now moving forward in a very positive way.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think this goal was met and it actually exceeded what we were trying to do with that reorganization, that multi-departmental reorganization, and the creation of the contract and licensing position in the Selectmen's office. We will now have an electronic tracking system for the contracts, the leases, the permits, and monitor those for compliance. So I think that this goal is one that was
Yes.
successful.
I agree. Number 5 is report monthly on status of open projects. Town council to present quarterly litigation reports.
I also think that this goal was met in collaboration with the assistant town planner. He and I developed a template of the planning projects, and you now receive those planning projects on a weekly basis, updating the status on those. And I'm working with the contract and licensing agent in your department to put your Board of Selectmen projects in the same type of a template form that you will receive monthly. I've also talked with town council, who, as you know, is attending your meeting tonight on litigation update, and he will be moving forward, coming to your meetings quarterly on litigation updates.
That's great.
Good. Good. Okay, number 6 is advocate for funding of the assistant town planner position.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is another goal that was met. In
Yes.
January of 2014, I met with the Personnel Board to advocate for the creation of the position. I met with the Warrant Committee January 2014 to campaign for the funding for the position. The May 2014 town meeting approved the position, and in December 2014, we hired the assistant town planner.
Right. And as skeptical as I was that we could get somebody actually for that price, we got somebody that exceeded our expectations.
Met your goal.
No, Tim's doing a great job.
Yes.
Item 8 is develop and oversee training programs for town employees.
Number 7, Mr. Chairman.
Number 7? I'm sorry. Implement auditors' management letter recommendations in conjunction with the town treasurer.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I met with your town treasurer, who is an elected official. As you know, he does not fall under the town administrator's jurisdiction, but I did meet with him to discuss the auditor's 2014 management letter and the recommendations and the comments that resulted from that management letter. There were 13 comments, 8 of them related to your treasurer's department. I met with the town treasurer, and he was tasked with implementing procedures to correct those comments and recommendations on those 8 comments. To date, 3 of the recommendations have been rectified. Of the 5 remaining, 2 of them involve the schools. So your town treasurer is working with the assistant superintendent for business affairs on those. One of the other recommendations is now going to, one of the other functions is now going to, as a result of that reorganization of the Selectmen and the Treasurer's office, going to happen up now in the Selectmen's office, and I'll be working with your assistant town administrator to implement a policy and procedure for those outstanding liabilities, and the Treasurer now is still working on the remaining 2.
And on a go-forward basis, this will really now fall on the newly authorized, but probably not formed yet, audit committee.
Yep.
So while I think the town administrator still wants to be mindful of what the problems are, the implementation and everything really should be
Yep.
with that committee on a go-forward basis.
And the fact that the treasurer is elected and is not part of the selectmen's jurisdiction is
Right,
a
makes
is a
it very
big issue
difficult,
here.
yes,
So,
yeah, exactly.
But I do think that this goal was also met.
I agree. Okay. Item 8 is develop and oversee training programs for town employees.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this goal was not due to staffing issues. The Assistant Town Administrator and I did not have the time to devote to this. We did have some training of your DPW staff, but we are committed to, in fiscal 16, working on this goal, because we do think it's important. At our department head meetings going forward to have training for department heads and then also for middle management and lower ranked employees.
Yep, yeah, and this was kind of a multifaceted one. It was,
That's right.
some of it was training of, just computer literacy for clerical positions,
Right,
as well as, just overall bringing all positions.
Some of it was things, though, like conflict of interest training for all
Oh,
employees.
yes, right.
Just to
So
make
it's
sure everybody's
multifaceted.
refreshed on that, up to date on it, and
Yep.
keeping it in mind.
Yep. Let's see, item 9 is work with school committee and school administration toward an MOA to consolidate town and school administrative and accounting functions.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you know, I sit on the Town School Consolidation Committee, and we were tasked with finding some, to explore opportunities for efficiencies on both the town and the school side. We had numerous meetings, and as a result of doing our due diligence, we realized that our first goal should really be the software for the town, because the current software that we have has a short shelf life, between 3 and 5 years, closer to 3 years. So we felt that that was really the first goal. So I'm happy to report that town meeting did improve the new software, which we'll start to implement in the new fiscal year. And I have that as a potential talking point for goals for fiscal 16 to work on the implementation of that software. The next two areas that we concentrated on were efficiencies with respect to how employees were paid. And so I was successful in negotiating with the 7 unions on your side of the house. Going forward, effective January of 2016, we will be moving to a biweekly payroll and a paperless payroll, which will have a significant savings on time, which will allow departments and the employees in those departments to concentrate on other tasks and duties.
Yep. So actually, even though some of it's a little low-hanging fruit, they're really good. I mean, I think it was really good consolidation effort, and it really is going to help
I agree.
from a fiscal standpoint. That committee is still together.
We're still together,
working.
and we're, our next subject that we're looking at is the procurement officer. So
Oh, good.
that's our next charge to
Right.
start to delve into.
And I keep saying it's not so much the procurement officer, I think, as it is the procurement function. That's the important part. I mean, you can name anybody as an officer.
Right.
We want to know that the function is consolidated and works properly.
So
This new software, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
With the new software package that we'll be implementing, we're hoping, the town treasurer and I, to implement the PO system on the town side, which will also help with the purchasing.
And I'd like to say, I've used that software, SoftWrite. I used that in the town of Westwood. It's very effective. I think you'll find it to be easily used by a lot of employees.
User-friendly.
User-friendly. And I think that it'll definitely lend efficiencies, which I think we're all looking to get to. And so obviously you mentioned going toward the procurement officer, which I think is great. And I'd like at some point in time, if you guys could bring it up, but look at, a consolidation of an HR director as well.
We did try that. We had a short window where there was none at the school level because that person had retired or or like,
He left for a different position in
yeah.
a different town.
And the schools filled the position before we
They filled it, yeah.
could do anything.
Yes.
So,
We did have a short window.
but it's still, we're all in agreement with that, though.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have our first kickoff meeting tomorrow with the team, with SoftWrite. They're coming in, and we're going to meet with them and go over some preliminary outlines of how we want to move forward and target a date calendar.
It's going to be great to have it all under one umbrella.
Yes, and
I
I'm
think you'll find
excited.
it to be very seamless. I think everybody will get the hang of it pretty quickly. It's very effective.
And they have a really nice budgeting module
They do.
that I'm really excited to use going forward.
Be great.
So, yeah,
The Consolidation Committee has been a success, I think,
Yes.
overall.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
I definitely agree with that. Okay, item 10, is it? Yep. Begin negotiations with unions to increase employee contributions to healthcare plans, review plan design in light of impending Obamacare changes to ensure that premiums will continue to be stable.
And as you know, Mr. Chairman, this was actually was not achieved because we used the healthcare MOAs with the design plan change to negotiate the paperless and biweekly paycheck through December of 2016. So this is a goal that going forward we really do need to.
And in deference to you in the Consolidation Committee, really going through 16 was not a big give up because contractually it was already bargained away to a degree by the school contract. So and we could not, because we'd never, without having school buy-in, there wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, exactly. But realizing this goal and trying to do something to accomplish a part of this goal, the town accountant and I did take a look, a brand new look at your health insurance budget, and we changed the whole way that we compiled that budget, and we did it from an actual census approach as opposed to just increasing numbers going forward.
Right.
And I believe fiscal budget was level with, your fiscal 15 budget was level with your 15-14 actual. So we were able to maintain the savings there by reformatting that budget.
Yep.
And those are the 10 goals. And then just for talking points, I did give you some ideas, but I do agree with Ms. Conlon that you probably...
Yeah, those are things we'll certainly take under advisement.
Yes.
We have our discussion in a few weeks.
Yep. I especially like the DPW reorg and the preparation for weather emergencies and communication. I think might even expand that out to the local emergency planning committee as a broader group. But I do think that's a good one. But
I also think that creating a community outreach plan, kind of a clearinghouse of information that we have as a town, as opposed to social media itself, which I think things can be erroneously reported or taken out of context. I think that if we could create some sort of plan where working with IT and department heads to funnel information, appropriate information out to people so that they have information at their fingertips by email, which they can choose to delete if they want. But I think that obviously a lot of these suggestions are really good, and I'm looking forward to having conversations as a whole here.
Yep, I agree, and hang on to that thought because that's a good one. We'll get there in a couple of weeks. Okay, 9:30.
Well, especially as we go forward with the new model of a strong town administrator, the board becoming more of a policy board.
Right, then they're even more
So
important.
our goals and objectives that we come up with.
Become policies.
Right, and will at least drive more the town administrator's goals and objectives. And
Yes.
or might tie them more closely together than what we did a year and a half ago.
Right, I agree. Okay.
Thank you to the town administrator. I think substantial progress was made on all of those goals,
I
and some of
agree.
them were fully completed, and
Thank you for your leadership.
yes.
Thank you.
Item 28, Town Administrator's Report.
The only thing that I would like to report, Mr. Chairman, is the We Are Milton Music Festival on June 27th and 28th at Hutchison Field. I want to make sure that everybody does attend that. It is a great family, community-oriented weekend.
Definitely. They got a great music
Venue, yes.
venue
they
set
do,
up and
yeah.
with some actual name people going to be performing. Should be great.
And the other item is the zip trip on Friday, June 26th with Fox 25 News. We hope to tomorrow have the itinerary sent to us, and so we'll be able to...
They still haven't decided location.
They have not decided that we know of. I'm hoping tomorrow, when we get the phone call, we'll know.
Okay.
Good.
Chair's report. I don't think I really have anything to report at this point.
Report on the Curry meeting last night?
Could, yeah. I mean, there was a meeting with Curry last night, which we all attended, actually, and it was a very positive meeting. And they've done a really good job, I think, on the new dorm, and is it 1016, right?
1016.
You know, that estate there, and the plans that they have for it sound great. The abutters and the residents in that area seem to be overall happy with what's been done. Had some reasonable suggestions for, you know, things that might want to be changed, and Curry seemed to be
very receptive yes.
to all those changes. So I think it was a very good meeting.
Yes.
Right.
Members report.
I have one thing to report. I just want to commend a couple residents, John Shea and Brian Haggerty, for their leadership in creating the Milton Youth Street Hockey League. So,
oh, really?
On the sports, where they had over 200 kids involved, and it culminated with the championships on Saturday over at Cunningham Park. And so these are residents who have you know, decided to take action and keep kids busy.
Yep.
On a positive note, and the crowds are amazing, and the kids have so much fun. So it's just great to see. A little bit near and dear to my heart, where my dad had created the program in the 70s, and as I was told, that most of the mothers in town loved them because they could drop their kid off and go shopping for 3 hours. So John and Brian have now taken this over, and I think that they were wowed by the amount of people that wanted to participate, and the kids, and I see this growing and growing. I think it's a great thing. I think we'll see more and more of this, and it's nice to have that community involvement.
Yeah, street hockey is a real fun sport.
It sure is, and it's very inclusive.
Yep, it is.
The only thing that I would add is tomorrow night is the final public hearing on the Randolph Ave 40B. So we'll be at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for that tomorrow evening. Carol Blute Conference Room, is it, I think? It's not at the
Yes.
Council on Aging.
It's, yes.
The Blute Room at 7 o'clock.
Citizen speak responses.
I have one item to report on. Last meeting, we had Mr. Kring from Elliott Street, who came in, raised concerns about a traffic commission meeting, and he raised really a due process concern that the meeting was held and he hadn't been notified about that. So we said we would look into it. What we found out was that that wasn't the problem. The discussion of his issue came up in the context of a different matter. The Central Avenue project was on the Traffic Commission's meeting that night. The DPW folks brought up Mr. Kring's situation because he had talked with them about a curb cut. So the good news is there was no due process issue where his matter was scheduled and he wasn't told about it. The bad news is he was supposed to have been on that agenda and his matter wasn't, but that's been rectified. We had a special meeting of the Traffic Commission this afternoon, and Mr. Kring was present with the full Traffic Commission, and the town administrator and I attended it, and it was a productive meeting. There's more follow-up to be done, but we had a good discussion, so we're making some progress on that, and there'll be more to come at a future date after the Traffic Commission does a little more follow-up.
Okay, good. Okay, future agenda items?
I think we need to put a budget discussion on the agenda soon, and I don't know how you're planning on handling that, Mr. Chairman, this year, whether you... I know the school committee chairman is very focused on the budget already in the summer, and
yes.
He happened to mention that to me at a conversation the other day, and we should probably, even though it's summer and it's early, we should probably have that on an agenda not too long from now.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, we're already, you know, the town administrator is already going to start with a department head meeting that's going to focus on budget. We are going to be pulling together the the team, not just for the financial forecast, but also for
Fiscal 17.
for the fiscal
budget.
17 budget, to get out in front of it, you know, and present something to the warrant committee early, with both contingent and non-contingent numbers in them. So, but yeah, I agree, we should put that on a, you know, put that on an agenda. I don't know if it's ready for prime time in July or not, you know, if we have anything to really discuss at that point, but
Maybe it's just that, what the procedure is going to
process.
be, what the process will
we
be.
could certainly talk the process, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Any other future agenda items? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to recess the meeting of the Board of Selectmen to convene a meeting of the trustees of Governor Stoughton Fund and to re-enter open session of the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of entering executive session.
Second that motion?
Okay, so the meeting of the Governor Stoughton Trust Fund is convened. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes for, let's see, June 6th,
Not attached, are they,
2013,
Emily?
June 10th, 2014, August 12th, 2014, September 23rd, 2014.
I'm sorry, I was just saying, Emily, they're not attached here, but I
No,
know
they
there were
went out as
emails to us.
separate, yeah.
There were some changes on the June 6, 2013 minutes. Those were made, okay. So,
Okay, November 12th, 2014, November 19th, and December 18th, 2014. So, do you have a motion for any of those, or did everybody?
yeah, I haven't seen the revised June 6, but I'm sure Emily made the changes. There were some incorrect names on there, and
Okay.
I was recused on that because it related to the hospital, so I just wanted to make sure that that got noted in the minutes.
Mhm.
But if that change has been made, then that's fine. So I'll move that we approve the meeting minutes of the trustees of the Governor Stoughton Fund from June 6, 2013, June 10th, 2014, August 12th, 2014, September 23rd, 2014, October 7th, 2014, November 12th, 2014, November 19th, 2014, and December 18th, 2014, as written. As amended, actually, I should say.
amended.
Okay. And yeah, some of those you weren't here
I
for.
cannot second that.
Yeah, so I'll second that motion. Okay, so motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And are you recused in all of those, David?
I am.
Yeah, okay. So one recusal. Okay, item 2 is Pulte due diligence period extension letter, and this is to extend through July 21st the due diligence period.
I'll move that we approve an extension of the due diligence period for Pulte Homes of New England LLC through July 21st, 2015.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, and just for clarity, this extension is really to give us enough time to really reach out to the neighbors and in terms of a tree planting plan and other plans that Pulte has come forward to us with to try and get some, see where the neighbors stand on the ideas. So motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. Item 3 is I'm going to propose a motion to enter into executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, taking, lease, or value of real property, believing that having such discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the governmental body, and to reconvene in open session for purposes of adjourning.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Ms. Conlon?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Hurley, yes.